What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. Taking a look at another Dueling Book rated match. That's what I've been doing. I've won 9 of my last 14 uh, with this Invoke deck. And they're just fun, like, fodder for, like, other videos. Like, so I try to, I don't know. I'm going to try to upload, like, more than one video today. Like, have my main upload and, like, maybe a Dueling Book match. I'm not exactly sure. This is more of a test run for me, but I'm trying to go through, like, all, like, the meta decks, quote unquote. Not saying that this is the greatest thing ever, but main decking Harpy's Feather Duster, good choice. Recommend everybody do it. Okay, so Harpy's comes down. One of them is a Scarlet Sanguine, unfortunately for me, but the other one is an Imperm, so it definitely would have come up. There we go, Terraforming. So that's why I play Terraforming. If I had like boss stage, I would have searched Meltdown, like to have the one copy. But Magical Meltdown comes down, and he was asking if Ghost Ogre, so he's basically telling me that he has Ghost Ogre. I'm like, no, because Magical Meltdown just activated. It's not, it wasn't already on the field for the search effect. So I can go ahead and, try to activate Alistair. He does have the effect veiler there. I can go ahead and go through my link plays at least. It fills my graveyard, gives my life points a little bit of protection as well. And then I can go ahead and activate boss stage. I'm like, he has Ghost Ogre, so he's going to try and activate it, and I do have the Solemn Strike as a response. So this card it's literally why I play the card, because if your boss stage goes through, you're in a good spot. And at this point, like, he could have been playing pure Eldlich stun, and maybe I should have gone for Garda so to banish his Eldlich. Maybe. I mean, probably the objective better choice, right? Because I even have an effect veiler for the unknown branded fusion at this point. I don't know. I mean, I guess this does threaten. Like, he literally can't do anything, right? If I do have this on the board, that's something to think about. He was just going for a long think there, but he does go to the battle. I think goes to battle phase, gets over Secure Gardener, fine enough. And then at the end phase, I forgot to put my tokens away, but I do remember here. Oops. And then the top deck of Endear Servant's actually pretty good. So I can go ahead and send a Ferjit and add a Maximus. So that's something that I've been learning plays better around like Droll for sure. It plays better around like you want to get to Maximus because it puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. Although it's really not a great card. It doesn't have a good matchup against Branded, but did activate Ferjit to draw one potentially there. It was a Call by the Grave, which is really good for Branded and Red, so I'm pretty happy about that. So we can go ahead and activate Maximus, and I'm just going to go for it here because, the cool thing is you can send this. And it's another reason why you should search, Maximus, because you can send Titanclad. Titanclad can, special summon Ecclesia, and Ecclesia can search Fleur, getting 2 cards out of your deck, getting more cards into rotation. It actually works out pretty well, but he's going to be able to send 2 of those cards. He's saying for end phase. That's fine. I get what you mean, because I could activate Call by the Grave, but I do have the answer for Braden and Red, and I'd rather have him waste it, if that makes sense. So I do get over his Eldlich, and I'm going to go ahead and attack for 3k. And I can set the Called by the Grave, and we'll see what happens next. So Titanclad can go ahead. Like I said, it's going to special summon Ecclesia. And Ecclesia is going to go ahead and get me a Fleur. And I'm also going to have another Generator monster. I feel pretty good about whatever. Like, there's no mysteries in his deck at this point for me. He does get the Eluber. I say, boss stage there. I go for Generator Boss of Ice to prevent a special summon. And I can actually, I have all the ways to use these. So this is a Spellcaster monster, so I can tribute this and the token probably. And then if he does have a special summon that I'm like really worried about, I can use the Boss of Ice. But I'm going to go ahead and negate there. Sending Ecclesia because why not? And I will activate Effect Veiler on that. And then he's going to activate Branded Fusion. I'm like, okay, I got the Fleur. Like, I feel pretty good about this. Especially if he sends something like Hex Sealed. Like, that's even better for me. So Hex Sealed comes down. I will activate Fleur. Fleur will hit the board, and I will negate that. So he's going to activate Spriggans, which is cool because if he tries to find a Branded Fusion, which I don't even think he has a branded monster that he can use, unfortunately for him. But he goes ahead, and I think he sets himself up for the next turn. But He does have to tuck a card back in. I top deck a Dogmatika Punishment. Really not that bad, to be honest with you. And I'm going to go ahead and get some damage in here. So he's going to be able to search there at the end of the phase, which is fine. I don't know if he remembers to do it. I'm sure he does. But that does get a little bit of a boosted attack. I'm not going to activate Maximus again, obviously. Don't want that to go through. I think he forgot to activate Albion. It was sent there this turn. So if this card was sent to the graveyard this turn, maybe a misplay. Definitely a misplay. But yeah, obviously in draw phase, I do have another target. So that is the Edgarda. So I can tribute these two, and I can still, prevent that special summon. So he goes ahead and scoops, which is pretty cool for me. A little bit of a weird ruling coming up here. I don't even know if we did it right, to be honest with you. But he's got TC Boot. Weird hand. Doesn't have Branded Fusion or anything like that. Setting a few as a bluff, of course, like Branded Loss. I was hoping to maybe top deck a Harpy's Feather Duster. But okay, Magical Meltdown. Again, very similar opening. This one's a little bit better, though, because I do have Ecclesia. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Magical Meltdown. He could have chained Cosmic Cyclone, actually, which is pretty interesting. But I'm going to normal summon there. And he's going to activate TC Boot. Really, I didn't play around this right. So you can play around TC Boot really easily. And I think that's why, I think this is a popular card in this side for a lot of decks. But I'm just going to attack. I could have gone into my Fusion because, yeah, it's whatever. It doesn't really matter. But he does Cosmic Cyclone the Generator boss stage, which it's like, okay, that's fine. And we're going to go ahead and... Oh, he was just trying to see if main one was okay. He's going to set one and pass. That's Scarlet Sanguine. I did have Dark World and more. I figured I was going to be going into a full board because Dark World is pretty good against Brandon. Pretty good. And we're saying TC Boot, and I was like, TC Boot be like. But I think I actually make a misplay here. These are two Cyberse monsters. You can't go into two. That's my mistake. And I make another mistake here, so it's worth noting. You can't do that. First of all, I can't go into a Cyberse into Cyberse. Even though there's still only one, in the moment you have a Cyberse, so that's obviously my fault. But I actually tried to go into I've gone to this a couple times, but it needs an invoked monster. So this is Alistair the Invoker, not an invoked monster. Like all of your other invoked plays, those are invoked monsters. So kind of interesting. And I think we kind of realized that. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, just kidding. And I just have to go to a valid target. Again, I shouldn't be able to do this in the first place, so this is kind of wonky. But I didn't know that until now. But yeah, you can't go into Elysium. You need to use one of these, which isn't that hard to do. It's still definitely going to be in my deck. Just when you use Maximus, sometimes I'm just going to send an invoked monster, so it's set up. Just so you it's always going to be there. It's fine. It's fine. Luckily I've never won a duel because of Elysium's effect. Whenever I've used it, it's kind of just like a body that I didn't really need. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's never straight up won me the duel from the banished effect, which I think is most important. But he does have TC Boot, so I don't think he can activate there. Can be only one. A lot of weird ruling things in this duel. That's kind of why I wanted to show it. But Ecclesia, again, everything's a little different. Fiend, Cyberse, Spellcaster, and pretty cool. But he's going to activate Ghost Ogre, which is fine. I will search the punishment because I don't want to use Maximus at this point. But I'm going to add Alistair back to my hand, and we can go to the battle phase. So I'm going to go ahead and boost the attack there. So it's up to 4,100 attack, and it does piercing. So I think we have to figure that out in a second. But I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of piercing there. Attack for 1,000. And pass turn to him. And then DD Crow on his Eldlich, of course. Don't want him to have access to that. And then I will set the punishment. Don't know if that's going to come up. We'll see. A couple of effect whalers aren't really doing much. It would against the branded side, but he obviously has not drawn into it. But he's got quite the little setup here, but he doesn't have access to Eldlich right now. So that's what's hurting him the most. 2 Conquistador to Hakero. He'd be good if I didn't have DD Crow. DD Crow's a really good card. At this point, actually, should not have activated Harpies, right? Because it's killing him. You can only have one of these at a time. And it really doesn't do anything against me. But I kind of do it. I don't know. I just shouldn't have activated this. This would have been game before anything. Because now he's going to get a bunch of advantage. He's going to get a bunch of Scarlets. But I think I ended up getting lucky here because he didn't have any more targets left in his deck. I don't know what his deck list looks like, but obviously. But 400 life points and pass turn. Top deck's a Branded Fusion. That's pretty nice. But I do have Effect Veiler, so shouldn't be too much of an issue. And then he unbanishes it because I don't think he's... I guess he's only running 1 Scarlet, which is bold. Very bold. Very bold indeed. But there goes Branded. And he's going to go ahead and dump. Like, Hexsteel is like very popular right now. Although I just feel like Despia or Branded is just better. Because you can send Tragedy. Tragedy can add your hand to the Eluber normal summon. Get Branded in red. And at that point, you've just won the duel pretty much, right? So he's going to go ahead and go for the Secure Gardener. That's fine. Because I do have Dogmatika Punishment. And I'm going to send a Titanclad. So the Titanclad at the end phase, because there's no issues here, Titanclad can, activate its effect. Ecclesia, Fleur. It was already game anyways. It didn't really matter. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. And I did, I would have added Fleur because if he did use Albion effect to set Branded in red, I don't even know if he had a Despia monster in his graveyard, actually. I think it really didn't matter. But that was a really crazy, wacky duel with a bunch of specific rulings that really only come up in real life, because a lot of these things get pushed under, or quickly get pushed through in automated ones, because like the TC boot one, obviously the program wouldn't have just let you go into that link summon, or you wouldn't be able to go into Elysium, right? And then on these automated ones. So obviously playing the real trading card game is very different than playing on Master Duel or YGO Pro. Not YGO Pro. What's it called? EDO Pro, excuse me. Geez. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below of this duel. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.